Hello and welcome. My name is Natalie Schlute, and today's episode is all about empaths. If you think you're an empath, if you're just interested in understanding what an empath is, maybe you have a friend or a family member, or you want to tap into this amazing power and understand yourself or someone else a little bit better, this is a really great episode. I'm excited about this episode in particular because I have done a previous episode on empaths. But in this episode, I'm going to show you what an empath is in a very different way. And it's going to be through telling you stories about things that I have experienced, episodes in my life, so that you can better relate. One of the best ways for us to learn is by hearing stories, by getting a picture of what it's really like. Because if I can share my story with you of some of the things that I have experienced, of some of the struggles, which have been many, many struggles that I have gone through as an empath, perhaps my story will resonate with you. Perhaps there are things that will help you understand yourself better or help you feel like you're not alone, and that being an empath can actually be a really beautiful thing. I found it very interesting that when I started Googling and searching what an empath was, that a lot of keywords that came up were actually very negative. People were searching things like, is an empath a curse? And, it's so hard being an empath. Why is it so challenging? Why is it so difficult? And I found all of these very negative things. And I want you to know, if you feel like you're struggling as an empath because you experience an overwhelming abundance and sometimes a negative abundance of emotions, that's okay. It is actually your superpower. And in the beginning, if you don't understand what it means or how to experience, how to handle it, how to control it, how to shift it, how to change it, how to let it go, in this episode, I'm going to be speaking specifically about what an empath is. I'm going to be sharing with you my stories and helping you understand some of your struggles a little bit better and how you can flip that around and change it so that you can have a happier life, a calmer life, and you can use your power, this beautiful gift that you've been given, in a really positive, healthy, happy way. So I hope you're really excited about this episode because I definitely am very excited about this episode. If you love everything that has to do with manifestation, intuition, evolving and developing yourself as a human being on this planet in this crazy time in the universe, please remember, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also ding the bell so that you get notified every time I have a new episode for you. So what does it mean to be an empath or a highly sensitive person? If you are an empath, you are the type of person that can feel other people's emotions. You have your own heightened emotional system, but you're also hypersensitive to receiving energetic information from other human beings, other people, and possibly even receiving other energetic information from places, from environments that you're in, from animals, from plants, from nature, from the earth. There's a lot of ways that we can receive energetic information. And when I teach a lot about the intuition and the psychic part of our natural human abilities, that is about heightening your senses. When it comes to being an empath, you are more heightened to receiving other people's emotions. You might be the type of person that when you encounter someone, a friend, a family member, a coworker, or someone that's going through a hard time, you are naturally inclined to help ease their pain. You naturally find a way to help coach people. This is something that just comes to you because you can feel what they're going through. And so over time, many of us empaths have learned how to be coaches, how to be the mediator, how to be the person that a lot of your friends and family members come to when they need help. And this is one of your gifts. It's one of your gifts because you are a natural healer. As an empath growing up, for the far majority of life, I didn't know what an empath was until the last several years. And one of my childhood patterns was the fact that I grew up in a very large family. I had 4 other sisters. I was the one in the family that could feel everyone else's emotions. So if 2 of my other sisters were arguing or getting into a fight and I wasn't necessarily even in the same room, I could feel their energy. Anytime someone was upset, someone was angry, someone was sad or emotional in my home, I became extremely sad, upset, and emotional. I could feel everything that everyone else was feeling, and it was extremely overwhelming as a child. As a child, there was no one there to guide me, to teach me how to manage my own emotions, to teach me how to reflect on my own thoughts, and how to shift and be in more of a positive state of mind and emotional state. And so for me, it was very overwhelming and I didn't know how to navigate it. Luckily, I have learned how to navigate it now. But if you are also an empath, you may have experienced a lot of emotional trauma in your childhood. It doesn't necessarily mean that there were a lot of horrible things going on in your home. But when you feel everyone's emotions, even the subtlest shifts in people's emotions, it can affect you very readily and very easily because you're just sensitive to it. I remember having a chat with one of my sisters in the last several months, and we were talking about me being an empath, and she remembers being a kid and arguing with one of my other sisters, and she was like, yeah, Natalie, it was so weird. She's like, I would be arguing and I would be, yelling at so-and-so, and you would come down from upstairs and you would be crying and emotional. And she didn't understand why I was so emotional. Because for her, her experience of life was very different than mine. She didn't feel everyone else's emotions. She didn't understand why I felt so deeply. And I didn't understand that I was so different, that I was this person that just felt everything that was going on. I had no idea I was hypersensitive, but it took me many, many years to understand my nature. And once I did, I was able to navigate through that so much easier. So as an empath, understand, not everyone experiences the world the way we do. And that's okay. We need to think of ourselves as this beautiful vessel of hyper-awareness, of hyper-understanding, so that we can do the self-care and the things to help us manage our emotions better. I have found that particularly when I was younger, I've learned how to stop this pattern, but my original pattern was to hold on to a lot of negative vibrations. So if someone else was fighting or arguing, or even if I was being scolded or I was in an argument with someone, I held on to a lot of those negative emotions. I had this pattern of focusing and dwelling on all of these negative situations. I took them to heart so deeply. And the interesting thing about our thoughts and emotions and experiences that we have in our life is that the stronger the emotion we feel, the deeper the imprint it has in our brain and in our neurological system. So when you take things to heart, when you feel things deeply, particularly as an empath, we have a tendency to hold on to a lot of negative vibrations. And we do this unconsciously. We're not consciously choosing to hold on to things. We do it by default because it affected us so deeply. The way to shift this is to practice letting go of old trauma, to practice letting go of hurtful words that we heard between others, hurtful words that we experienced from our friends and our family members, whether it's in the recent past or the very distant past. Part of the healing as an empath is about letting go, reframing your thoughts, and being very conscious of choosing which emotions you want to hold on to. As an empath, we get extremely overwhelmed because we feel so deeply and so much. You notice other people around you, they maybe don't take things in the same way we do. Emotional jabs, if someone's putting you down, those things can hit us very, very deeply. And for other people, it just rolls off their back. The key is you can train yourself to show up differently for your life as an empath. You can train yourself to let go of all of the energy that no longer serves you. Whether it's your own trauma that you've been holding on to, whether it's trauma of things you've seen or experienced, or whether it's other emotions that you have picked up from other people that you are unconsciously holding on to that no longer serves you. The letting go process is so extremely important. And I actually have a video specifically about how to let go of other people's energy. That process works very well for also letting go of your own energy too. The energy that no longer serves you, maybe the things that you're holding on to from your traumatic past. So if you're an empath, I highly recommend that you also check out this other video that I have. It's going to serve you very well in your life. Often empaths feel like their life is just more challenging and harder than other people because we hold on to so much energy and emotion. What that can do, and I'm just going to give you some examples of things that I have struggled with in my own life, is when we hold on to a lot of trauma, a lot of negative emotion, when we take things personally, when someone says something to us, they are judging us, they are being negative toward us, they are putting us down, making us feel like we are unworthy, which they cannot do that unless you allow them to. But if you allow people to make you feel less than worthy, and you take all of this emotion in, what you are doing is you are holding on to low vibrations in your body, in your energy field. That pressure starts to build up within you, and it can cause a lot of other health issues. I personally had chronic pain starting from the age of 12 years old. Pain that I felt in my body every single day. And by the time I was in my mid-20s, it grew to an almost unbearable point. I was experiencing migraines in my teen years. And by the time I was in my senior year of high school, I was going to the hospital multiple times because my migraines were so bad that I was vomiting and shaking. I experienced great depression because I was holding on to so much trauma. I ended up experiencing drug abuse. And then in my 20s, as I was working through healing myself, I experienced a lot of digestive issues. Chronic aches and pains, chronic digestive issues. I was having neck spasms, back spasms, and just feeling as if I could barely function in life sometimes. There were days and weeks at a time where I could not go to school, I couldn't go to college, I couldn't go to work, I couldn't get up out of bed without screaming because I was in so much pain. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand that a lot of the physical symptoms that you might be experiencing are actually coming from your emotions. My experience, I worked so hard for 10, 15 years to get to the root of why I was in so much pain. And a lot of it was because of the heavy burden of emotions that I was holding on to, how I was taking in the world and how I was responding to the world based off of taking things personally, and how I chose to feel less than worthy in a lot of areas of my life. And once I started healing the emotional side, because as an empath, this is so important. We must heal ourselves emotionally in order to heal everything else. Now I am at the point where I have done the inner work, and every day I manage my thoughts and my emotions to the point where I have cleared up more than 90% of my chronic pain. I rarely get aches, pains, and issues that make me bedridden. I'm no longer going to the hospital for migraines. My digestive system is so much more balanced than it used to be. There are so many things that can improve in your life when you learn how to manage yourself as an empath. Being an empath is by no means a curse. I chose to look at it as this beautiful gift that was always giving me information. My emotions, whether they were positive or negative, were always giving me information on whether I was on the right track towards manifesting an amazing life, towards experiencing a beautiful life, or if there was something internally going on that I needed to check in on. Every time you get a headache, a digestive issue, an ache and pain in your body, you're feeling sad, overwhelmed, fearful, worried, any sort of negative emotion, depressed, and feeling hopeless. Those are all signs and signals that your intuition, that your emotional body is giving you to let you know, hey, something needs to change. And you have the ability to change that. As an empath, this is not a curse. This is your greatest blessing. Because some people go years and decades and entire lifetimes without checking in with themselves, without checking in with what's going on. And then they end up getting to their end of their life and they wonder, what was it all for? But as an empath, you have this beautiful system that is constantly giving you feedback and letting you know, hey, it's time to check in with you. It's time to shift what you're thinking. It's time to shift how you're feeling. It's time to let go of all the old hurt, all the old pain, It's time to let go and forgive everyone that has ever wronged you. It is time to stop taking things personally and understand that the only thing that you can control in your life is how you choose to show up and how you choose to feel every single day. And when you can get to that place where that is how you live your life, now you are truly in your superpowers as an empath. Now you can live a life where you are in control of your own energetic system. You can control your own emotions. You can choose what emotions you allow in. You can choose which emotions you let go of very easily. And a big part of that is just letting that energy flow through you instead of holding on to it. You have this beautiful gift of receiving subtle energetic information through your emotions. And that gift allows you to have the ability to not only heal yourself, but to heal those around you. When you do the inner work to heal you, you set the example for everyone. And not only that, but you naturally have a gift to be an amazing healer in this world. If this information so far has been helpful for you, you're receiving some good insights and you can relate to some of the things and stories that I have already told you, please give this video a like. And also, I would love for you to comment down below and let me know what you would like to hear more about. If there are specific things that you would like some answers to, some things in your life, in your physical body, in your emotional body, in your past traumas that you would like me to help you with, I am more than happy to do that. This channel is really here to help serve you. And the best way I can help serve you is to know what you need help with. Because you might comment something below and then I can make a video all about that, or I can respond directly. Some other ways that an empath's hypersensitivity may show up in your life is through being sensitive to foods, being sensitive to other chemicals in your environment, being sensitive to people's words and emotions. You might also be sensitive to having clutter in your home. You might be sensitive to colors and other vibrations in your environment. This is actually a gift because it allows you to be very crystal clear on what you choose to accept into your environment and what you choose to let go of in your environment. You have this beautiful hyper awareness that is going to direct you in the direction of creating the most beautiful life that you could choose to have. And it's all about how you choose to focus your thoughts and your attention. When you focus your thoughts and attention on things that make you sad, that make you upset, that make you angry, that cause you to feel resentment, anger, hurt, and pain, in that very moment that you are choosing those thoughts, that you are choosing to focus your attention on those things, you are actively choosing to create more of that in your life. You're choosing to feel those negative emotions, and you're choosing to manifest more stress and trouble and overwhelm, and you're drawing in more things into your life that are actually going to create more problems for you. But you can also use your attention and your focus in the positive. You can choose in those moments to look at things differently. How can I see the bright side of this? When you're having problems and obstacles in your life, ask yourself, what is the lesson here? What can I learn from this? How can I do better in the future? How can I choose to feel better right now? How can I choose to let go of this so that I don't continue to repeat this situation in my mind and my emotions? And instead, what can I choose to replace that with? What positive thoughts can I think? How can I show up better for my life? Start asking yourself these types of questions so that you are self-coaching. You are leading yourself every day in a better direction. Being an empath, and in order to heal yourself as an empath, is all about self-monitoring. It's about choosing to be aware of how you're showing up for your life. Choosing to look at your own emotions, to catch yourself when you're feeling a negative emotion. And then in that moment, to consciously make a decision that you no longer want to feel that negative emotion. And instead, you are going to choose this other positive emotion. It's about consciously choosing every step of the way how you want your life to be and how you want to show up for your life. And when you experience something that doesn't feel good, that doesn't serve you, choose to let it go. Choose not to allow it in. Choose not to hold on to it. If people in your external environment, in your home, and your family, your friends, your coworker are negative, choose not to let it in. You're still going to feel it. As an empath, we can't just block things out. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. And when we live with this concept of I have to self-protect all the time, you're also unconsciously saying there are bad things out there that I have to protect myself from. So you're creating these walls, and actually that causes more tension in the body. So what I love to teach empaths is instead allow the energy and emotions of other people, of other things, of negative events, of past traumas, of things that don't serve you. Instead of trying to block them out, choose to let it flow through you. Choose to feel it, because you're going to feel it anyways. You're an empath, you're hypersensitive. Like, this is what we do, right? We feel things, and we don't always know how to control that. It just is what it is. But what you can choose is, you can choose, now that I feel this emotion, now that I feel so-and-so's negative emotion, now that I'm feeling my own past trauma and I'm experiencing all these heavy emotions, in that moment, you can choose, now I'm going to choose to let that energy move through me and out of me. I'm going to choose to just let that energy drop down into the earth, to let the earth transmute that energy into something beautiful. And I'm going to choose to let it go. And as an empath, you get to choose which emotions you do want to hold on to. Instead, tell yourself, I am choosing to feel love today. I'm choosing to feel ease. I am choosing to feel a sense of relief and peace and joy, excitement, whatever emotions you want to feel more of. Just choose to feel them and then allow yourself to experience it. As an empath, you're so good with emotions. But when most empaths struggle is when they have practiced and felt negative emotions more often, or a significant amount compared to the positive emotions. So just train yourself to feel more positive emotions. Train yourself to experience more joy. And you do it by making that choice in this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. Every day you monitor yourself as an individual, and you decide that you are going to show up a little bit better every day. You're going to show up and feel more joy every single day. And these little choices start to compile. And before you know it, within a few days and a few months, you can feel like a totally new person. And you keep doing that year after year. Your life will transform beyond your beliefs. Trust me with this one. You will have so many miracles happen in your life. You will attract so many wonderful things. You will finally feel like you have control as an empath when you choose moment after moment, day after day, to show up as your best self, to show up as a happier person, a more peaceful person, and to choose to let go and surrender all of the things that no longer serve you. If you're interested in more guidance as an empath, I have a free empath guide that you can download. It's in the description below. That will give you some guidance on the ins and outs of what it's like to be an empath, what kind of superpowers you have, and some of the things that you can do to help yourself on a daily basis. In the next episode, I'm going to be giving you all the ins and outs, a complete survival guide for empaths. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and also ding the bell so that you get notified when that video is released. If you enjoyed this episode here today, I think you will also enjoy some of these videos over here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you learned a lot about yourself as an empath, some things that you can shift and how you can show up for your life to manifest greater things. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.